WOTW HD2 Windermere, Bud 94.1. From the attorneys Justin Clark and Associates YouHavePower.com studios, this is Behind the Law with attorney Justin Clark.
And welcome to the show, another edition of Behind the Law with me, Justin Clark. Thank you for spending some of your weekend here with me. It looks like a beautiful weekend ahead here in Central Florida. This is the time of year we want to live here. I can't imagine living anywhere else. People, my old friends from Boston call all the time, and they're like, "Oh man, you miss it?" I'm like, "Absolutely, positively, I do not miss it one bit." I'm here to answer any legal question that you might have. The phone number 321-282-1055. Plenty of information on the website youhavepower.com. That is youhavepower.com. You can watch the show live on Facebook at ATTY Justin Clark. During the week, we focus mostly on bankruptcy, IRS problems, real estate, personal injury, and even student loan problems, but feel free to dial the phones 321-282-1055. Anything from accident to zoning, we are here to answer those questions. And joining me, as always, to my right is Orlando radio legend Mick Dolan. Mick, how are you, sir?
I'm far to the right today. I'm clear off the camera today. Yeah, I'm over here. Okay, I'm good.
And Marketing Jake is here, pushing the buttons, running the cameras behind the scenes. Marketing Jake, thanks for being here early today. And putting us on the air is my good friend from our sister station, 1031 The Wolf.
Yeah,
from
not
the,
104.
I know.
Yeah,
my
that's
bad.
okay.
That's not us.
Jeez.
From the Chad Show with Skid, it is
Some
Skid.
good friend, huh?
What's up, Skid? How
I'm doing
are you?
awesome. Good to have you.
Thanks for letting us borrow the studio
absolutely.
again. Interfering with your day.
Oh,
We're
I don't have
to-
much today, please.
Happy to be here.
I'm going to be drinking in a few hours.
321-282-1055. YouHavePower.com. Behind the Law with me, attorney Justin Clark. Normally we talk about your legal issues, but today we're going to take a little diversion for a very important reason. So I really think that you should stick around. What we're going to talk about is really for anyone who's a first responder or anyone whose life has been somewhat affected or touched in any way by autism. You know, with me, I think one of the most important parts of my life and my every single day is my interaction with other human beings. You know, outside of my family, that's one of the things that's most important to me. Let me give you an example. You know, I think about playing basketball in the mornings and you see maybe the chubby kid who it was his New Year's resolution to come in and lose some weight. And he comes in and people kind of ignore him. They're like, "Oh, that guy stinks." I want to be the guy who goes up to him and says, "Hey, how are you? My name's Justin. We're really happy you're here to play with us." Because that guy's probably going to be the guy next year who's down 30 pounds hitting jump shots, you know?
Yeah.
And I think people don't take enough time out of their day to say hello to that guy. Or what if your daughter is 8 years old and she's very shy and she wants to go start gymnastics, right? So she goes to the gymnastics school and all 10 girls that are already there have been there for years together, right? Now, are these girls going to give your daughter the cold shoulder, or is someone going to come over and say, "Hi, Sophia," or "Hi, Jessica," or whoever it is? And so to me, it's a very important part of my life is that human interaction, especially that initial interaction. What about the new DJ who shows up here at Bud 94.1 and he's just starting out? You know, is that guy going to become Howard Stern, or is he going to quit because you guys look at him all funny and think that he stinks?
Well, we have to warn him first.
Yeah, that's a very
That's
good
the first step. But yeah, everybody needs support. You're
And
right.
this is coming from a guy who went to 4 different high schools before his second week of the sophomore year. You know, think about that. 4 high schools I went to before the second week of my sophomore year. That's a lot. That's a lot of moving around. If I didn't have people who came up to me, and befriended me a little bit to make me feel somewhat welcome at these new schools where I knew not one single person, I wonder how the trajectory of my life would have really gone. But I do think that we can all make an impact and really, in one conversation, sometimes change the trajectory of other people's lives.
Yeah.
I really fully believe that, and I don't think we spend enough time thinking about that and going through it. You know, we get too down on ourselves or wrapped up in our own daily lives. Just think about what other people are thinking. I meet with clients all day long who come into my office who are going through a difficult time. And they need me. And I want them to, when they walk out of the office, know that everything's going to be okay for them financially. And life's not so bad. And that's very important to me. I think that I feel responsibility because I think some of the things that I say and do with other people can truly change the trajectory of the rest of their life. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not the guy walking around all bubbly, life is great. I'm not that guy. But I'm saying
Jake knows that.
there's nothing wrong with trying to be nice and caring to other people. But what brings us here today is really that human interaction and that first human interaction between first responders, the police officers, the firefighters, the paramedics, the first responders, and the people that they're responding to. But what if that person is autistic? What if that person making the call can't communicate or doesn't communicate in the same way that other people without autism communicate?
Right.
And that's why we're here today. My good friend, Stephanie Cooper, has created this most amazing event. So Saturday, April 14th, mark your calendars for the first annual American Warriors for Autism event. Stephanie, welcome to the show, by the way.
Thank you for having me.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
It's amazing what you're doing. Tell us a little bit about you first.
All right, my name is Stephanie Cooper. I'm a former law enforcement officer, field training officer. I'm also a member of ILEADA, but I am the CEO of the Autism Law Enforcement Response Training Corporation. I provide free autism training and free autism sensory kits to law enforcement and first responders nationwide. I've been doing my training for about over 7 years. I've been a 501c3 nonprofit corporation for over a year and a half. I started my training when my son was first diagnosed. He was diagnosed on the severe level of the spectrum. He was completely nonverbal, and I had a lot of officers I had worked with reach out to me and want to know what autism was, how to recognize it. We all understood, we know what it's like to make that split-second decision. They never wanted to have to question did that person not respond to me because they couldn't? Well, they were just being non-compliant. So that's where it took off from there. I've trained over 2,000 officers in 6 states, but my training is a little bit different than PowerPoints and videos. I believe in live, hands-on, interactive, teachable moments training. I actually have individuals with autism ranging from children to adults come in and meet and interact with the police officers and firefighters. It helps them learn firsthand about the different behaviors and characteristics of autism. It helps them understand that sometimes they may never get a response. Teaches them how to respond. And a lot of officers, we're trained to go, okay, this is the proper procedure. This is the right protocol. Watch them get that deer in the headlight look going, you have to wing it. Because what works for this one person with autism won't work for the next person. And having the police go, wait, no. Yeah, there's no protocol. There's no correct procedure. This is why. This is why this hands-on training is valuable, because sometimes you will never get a conversation. Sometimes you might. I clue them, look at what they're wearing. Get your iPhone out. If they can't if they can't tell you the number, maybe they can dial it. Get a pen and piece of paper out. Anything. I provide them with nonverbal communication cards. And it's also value for our kids. My son thinks firefighters like this one looks like Darth Vader all dressed up. So during a fire, my son's going to run and hide, lock himself in a closet, and not come out. And he's got a high pain tolerance, so he won't come out until literally he's burning to death. He'll die in a fire. He won't come out. So by getting him used to being firefighters in full bunker gear, it helps them understand that they're a safe place to go to. Same thing with officers. It's value for our kids because they may not know what an officer would wear, how an officer would approach, how an officer would ask questions. So it's value on both sides, this hands-on training. And that's what our event is for. When our board of directors got together and we wanted to come up with an event that mimicked what we do, we wanted to give back to the community. We wanted to bridge that gap. So our event is what we're doing is we're having the Coe Police Department and Coe Fire Department come out, and we're doing relay races and obstacle course races, and we're partnering individuals with autism up with first responders.
While you have been raising this family, creating this nonprofit, creating this amazing event coming up on April 14th, where's your husband been?
Afghanistan.
Can you guys believe this? So she's selling herself.
In Kabul.
She's selling herself a little short here. I mean, she's an absolutely amazing lady who has not only created this nonprofit that is absolutely incredible. That I wasn't even aware of this problem really until I met you and you told me about it. But doing all of this while her husband has been over in Afghanistan, can you imagine? And I have another good friend with me here today. And that guy is Jason Watson from the Apopka Fire Department, firefighter and paramedic. Jason, welcome to the program. How are you, sir?
Thank you, Justin, for having me.
I really appreciate you coming, first of all. So
It's an honor. Thank you.
when every time I drive by an accident, I think of you because the things that you must see being a firefighter and paramedic, how in the world do you sometimes block that out, or can you block it out?
There's certain coping mechanisms that we use. You could use meditation. You can use a number of things to help guide you to the right mind frame or state of mind that you should be in for the next call, for the next day that you go to work. But a lot of it has to do with my family. You know, we work 24 hours on and 48 hours off. So I do have an opportunity to be with my family, and that's how I personally cope with what we do at work, what we see at work, what we have to deal with. So when I go home, that's meditation for me. I really enjoy being with my family.
So let's take us through a call right now. So a typical call, you show up at the accident. Hopefully it wasn't anything bad, but the fire department had to respond. And the person in the front seat says, my neck hurts a little bit, or my knee's in pain. But what if we go to a call and we have a 17-year-old little boy or little girl, and they're not responding the way someone without autism would respond? I mean, is there training for this, or what do you do as a firefighter in that situation?
Absolutely, there is. Stephanie does a good program. I've had training somewhat like hers with the hands-on, and with someone that has autism, there's different ends of the spectrum. But if you have someone that can't verbalize what is wrong, to them, they're scared. They have been in a traumatic accident. Even if it's not so traumatic to a normal person, you and I, or,
Sure.
someone who...
When they're thrown off their routine, they're
Yeah,
scared,
absolutely.
their caregiver's unconscious. Like if I'm unconscious, my
Absolutely,
son's
absolutely.
completely nonverbal. He won't be able to communicate with them.
So, and like she said, they have a huge or very high pain tolerance. And you would never know that unless if you did the training or talked to someone who has a kid that is diagnosed with autism. But their pain tolerance is amazing.
Is that right?
So
My son will turn the hot water faucet on and drink from it. He'll drink scalding water. You'll watch his face turn red. He has no problem. I have
Really?
to watch him.
I had no
That
idea.
is how high pain tolerance. He's broken his leg before when he was real little. I didn't know it. He was walking on it. I mean, their pain tolerance is extremely high. So I teach the first responders, just because they say they're fine, you still have to do a full examination.
absolutely.
You have to look for
So
those injuries.
when we go to a car accident, our biggest concern is their mental status. Did they hit their head? Were they buckled up? What could be wrong with them?
A lot of them like to
The
unbuckle.
mechanism of injury is so important to know what could have happened, because if they're not able to talk to us, we need to be able to know
And if the caregiver's unconscious,
how
like if
to
I'm
take care of them, and especially if the caregiver's not available or can't
and
talk
you
to
know
you.
not to leave them because they'll
Absolutely.
dart back into traffic. Like if my son was taken out of the
Absolutely.
car, he would not be able to leave my son. I don't care. Leave me in the car to die. I don't care because my son would dart right back into traffic. They have no sense of danger awareness.
And they're strong.
We're talking about the first annual American Warriors for Autism event, Saturday, April 14th, 2008. We're looking for sponsors. We want you guys to join us. 321-282-1055. At what age do you know if your child may be autistic? On the other side of this break on Bud 94.1. Hey, welcome back to the show. It's another edition of Behind the Law with me, attorney Justin Clark, on my favorite radio station, Bud 94.1, 321-282-1055. You have power.com. You can watch the show live on Facebook at ATTY Justin Clark. We're talking today with two of my very good friends, Stephanie Cooper, who was created and is really the mastermind behind this group called Autism Law Enforcement Response Training Corporation, and the first annual American Warriors for Autism event, Saturday, April 14th. The only thing about this event that I don't like is that I'm the MC. So you have to do.
Hey, I had to find somebody that
so
I
you
knew.
have-
Which one of my friends
So,
is a great?
but you know, just I won't say much. So you know, come anyway. Come despite the fact
He's
that I'm
doing
going
the
to be
silent
there.
auction.
Exactly. And Jason Watson was nice enough to join us as well from the Apopka Fire Department. He's a firefighter and paramedic, and we're talking about how first responders can interact with people with autism, because it's something that you have to think. As a first responder, you need that communication from who you're there for to tell you what's wrong. But children and even adults with autism don't communicate at times the same way that human beings without autism communicate.
Even the higher functioning ones that can communicate, when they're stressed out, afraid, or confused, they can become completely nonverbal. About 20% of the ones will become completely nonverbal when stressed. Over 50%, though, are completely nonverbal.
You know, Stephanie, I didn't realize the pain threshold with
I didn't either.
autism.
I had no idea.
The pain
And
threshold's
I'm
very
not making light of it, but is there any way we can figure out how they do that so we can, you know, the rest of us can benefit?
It's a coping mechanism. I don't know how my son does it. I mean, like I said, I've watched him turn scalding hot water on a drink. It's like,
Oh, that's crazy.
you know, now he's got to be constantly monitored. I have to watch what he watches on TV because he mimics everything he does.
But when he does that, I mean, he still gets hurt, right? I mean, it's
Oh,
not
he still
good.
gets hurt, but he doesn't feel
He
it like
doesn't
we
feel
would.
it, yeah.
And that also comes into play when first responders are looking for an individual that's lost with autism. If it's freezing outside, don't assume that they're inside and indoors. They're going to be outside in the cold because they don't feel cold like we do or the hot like we do. So they can be outside in a diaper in the freezing cold weather.
As the parent of a 5-year-old, Sophia, I'm comfortable with the fact that she is not suffering from autism. I think she's old enough where you would know. But I also have a child who's negative, 3 weeks now. I mean, we're expecting a new child any day, our second. At what age as a parent do you know or start seeing signs that your child may be autistic?
It's different on each age. It's different on. They have 3 levels of the spectrum. When my son was diagnosed, it was severe, moderate, and high functioning. Now it's levels 1, 2, and 3. They're diagnosed on how well they can communicate. So sometimes people aren't diagnosed until later on when they're teenagers. And
Really?
in fact, you've got some adults now going back and being re-diagnosed because back in our day, I'm 47, they were diagnosed as different, development delayed, special, quirky. Now they're going back and being re-diagnosed. It just basically how well they communicate is when they're diagnosed. Like with my son, he was diagnosed before 18 months old. He was on the severe level of the spectrum. He can now communicate his basic needs. That's through a lot of therapy and a lot of, training and working with him constantly. But yeah, there's different signs and things you can look for, like, if they're not speaking by a certain age. Like with my son, he would not respond to his name. He passed his hearing test at a year, but you could sit there and look directly at him, David, and he wouldn't answer you. He wouldn't look at you. Lined all of his toys upright. He would have meltdowns. And that's another thing, Justin, when you were talking earlier about, saying hi to everybody, saying hi to that kid. There's also another thing. Don't assume because a kid's screaming at the store that they're having a temper tantrum and they're a spoiled little brat. It could be having a sensory overload. And I've had somebody come up to me in Walmart and say, take your screaming brat out of the store.
Ugh.
And I've looked at them and said, he has autism. And the woman looked at me and said, well, he doesn't look autistic. I said, well, you don't look ignorant, but yet here we are.
Yeah, please.
He can't help this.
Alrighty then.
He can't help the way he is. He's having a sensory overload, because they take longer. Like, they will growl for something that's dangerous. I'm like, no, but he's taken longer to respond to that directive. So it looks like just a spoiled brat being told no and can't have it. No, he's taking longer to respond to what I'm telling him. And he doesn't understand what he's reaching for is dangerous. So then it becomes a sensory overload. I relate it to a computer. You watch a computer crash, that's what, they don't care. A meltdown is they don't care who's around them when they're screaming. So when you see that, instead of staring, go, can I help you? Do you need some help? Can I, it makes us as parents feel a lot better.
As a parent, when your child is finally officially diagnosed, what are the emotions that you go through?
I can't speak for other parents. Me, it's like, okay, what do I need to do? What does my son need? What type of therapies does he need? What kind of help can I get him? Tennessee's solution to my son, which brought us to Florida, was to lock my son up in an institution before the age of 5 and put him on an antipsychotic. And I told them, no.
Peace out.
Yeah, that's about what I said. I called my husband up in Afghanistan and said, honey, we're selling the house and moving, because I applied to several charter schools, and he got accepted to a really great one, the Princeton House. And also with the upcoming fundraiser, I'm giving half the proceeds to the Princeton House Charter School. So it's benefiting, our sponsors would benefit by helping provide free autism training and autism sensory kits to first responders, and also free autism therapies and autism education to children with autism. The Princeton House has done wonders. My son was potty trained before the age of 5. He can now communicate his basic needs. So yes, every year that we have this, I'm going to partner with an autism group, 501c3 group, and give half my proceeds to them.
Now, Jason Watson, Apopka Fire Department. Firefighter and paramedic, by the way. Not everyone's a firefighter and paramedic, correct? Or are they?
No. The Florida minimums, well, at least the standards in our department is that you're an EMT firefighter. There are programs that will hire you as a non-cert, they call it, and give you the training. But for our department, it is required that you're at least an EMT.
I love my firefighter clients. My firefighter clients and my pilot clients all remind me of the same. They're all the same. It's a very nice confidence that they have about them. And I think it's because you have a lot of people's lives sort of at your fingertips, if you think about it, you know?
Absolutely.
And the things that you see on a daily basis, it must be shocking at times. But I do love the 24 on, 48 off thing. I mean, that lifestyle isn't that a pretty conducive lifestyle to raising a family as well?
Absolutely. A lot of times people portray that 24 on as being hard. Once you're away from the house, it's not hard. You get over it, you get through it, and then you do have the 2 days off.
Right.
A lot of people have extra jobs, second jobs, third jobs outside of the fire department. But for us, and if you didn't need that other job or didn't want to have some extra money, the lifestyle is awesome.
So let's say we're sitting at the station and we get the call, right? We get a call, there's an automobile accident, so we get in the truck, head down to the accident scene. What signs do you look for that one of your patients may be autistic?
Well, it's a hard question. There is no physical signs. There's no
look to it.
Yeah, there's no look to it. The only way you could really know is if you started communicating with them, or if their caretaker or their guardian was with them and could tell you that they're autistic. But there is no 100% way of knowing. As a matter of fact, if someone's on the high end of the spectrum, they can have a perfect conversation with you, and you would never know until something triggers them that causes a reaction.
It's those different behaviors and characteristics. There's no set look to autism.
Absolutely.
It's different behaviors and characteristics, and they differ from different levels of the spectrum. Autism is a neurodevelopment disorder, but it's a spectrum disorder, which means it affects each and every person differently to different extents depending on where they fall on the spectrum.
So this question is for both of you. Are there certain types of calls that are typical of autistic people? Are there certain types of calls that a fire department or a police department may get because someone is autistic?
That's why I teach
Absolutely.
law enforcement and first responders. There's going to be different types of calls. You're going to get the prowler or peeping Tom calls. When they get lost, scared, they're going to wander up, look in your window. It's one thing when they're a cute 9-year-old, but when they grow up to be like his size and they're scared and they're walking around, they look in your window, they walk in your house because they don't understand not to do that. There's going to be those type of calls. There's going to be, of course, the missing children at risk. And I have always advised if a child with autism or adult with autism goes missing, go straight to the nearest water source, please. The leading cause of death for our children and adults with autism is drowning. There's other types of calls. Their behaviors and characteristics can sometimes, unfortunately, be misinterpreted as being on drugs. My son likes to self-hit, so when he starts stimming, he'll start hitting his legs and then hitting the sides of his head like this. And I have one officer related to, it looks like if your son was an adult, I would think he was on meth. You know, the way they stim, they flap their hands, they spin around. I always tell the officers and first responders, if they're looking directly at you, like I'm looking at you, Justin, they might be on something. But if they're ignoring you and just, you know, they're probably just stimming. And that's when those different behaviors and characteristics can be misinterpreted. And my goal in doing this is that live hands-on teachable moments is so, you know, they get used. And I use locals from their community, of course, so these are the ones they will come into contact with. That, you know, they get that, they know who they're.
And I know we're talking about first responders, but the parents of kids or adults that have autism, they have to deal with this 24/7.
That's right. No
so
doubt.
sometimes a call could be as little as, I'm done. I don't know what to do. You know, we've tried everything we know to do. We're calling you to try to help us. And then with the training that Stephanie provides, law enforcement and fire departments can come together and figure out a solution. Like she said, it's not just arresting the person or holding them down. Obviously, you don't want to hold them down. You don't want to arrest them. You want to help them. And we could be that chain link between the parents just going absolutely crazy and getting him help or her help.
The scariest part of all this to me has to be the calls or the suicidal type threats. Is this something that we see quite a bit with autistic children or even adults, or no?
I've not witnessed that. I mean, I know some parents, they do get desperate, you know, especially, I know I'm going to die someday. I know I'm not going to live forever, but who's going to take care of my son when I'm gone and my husband's gone? You know, that does concern me, and I've seen it a couple times in the news where parents, they don't have anybody to take care of their kids, so they just shoot themselves and shoot their kid because they don't have that family structure there, unfortunately.
That's actually a huge concern for a parent that has a child with autism. Their biggest fear as a parent is that they're going to die first.
Yeah.
Because who's going to take care of their kids when they pass away?
And with our kids being nonverbal, anything can happen to them. Finding a babysitter for David is almost impossible because what can happen what can happen, you know, if that babysitter hurts my son, he can't tell me.
The first annual American Warriors for Autism, Saturday, April 14th. Give us a call, 321-282-1055 if you want to help. Another half hour ahead right here on Behind the Law on Bud 94.1. Welcome back to Behind the Law with me, Attorney Justin Clark on Bud 94.1. Any question that you may have will be answered at 321-282-1055. The website is youhavepower.com. That is youhavepower.com. Sitting here with my good friend and Orlando radio legend Mick Dolan. We have Skid from our sister station, 103.1 The Wolf from the Chad with Skid Show. One of my favorites, by the way.
Oh, I thank you.
I
You're
love
much
it.
too kind.
I love your show.
You're
listen
the
all the
one
time.
listener. That's awesome.
You can see him without the straitjacket.
Yeah,
That's
just,
right.
you know.
That's
It's a
right.
local legend.
I'm surprised they let him out.
Thank you.
But most importantly, I have two of my good friends here. I have Stephanie Cooper and Jason Watson from the Apopka Fire Department. We're talking about the first annual American Warriors for Autism, benefiting the Autism Law Enforcement Response Training Corporation and the Princeton House Charter School. Stephanie, how did you do all this by yourself? I mean, how did you really create this program? This is a lot of work. This doesn't happen overnight.
Well, like I said, I've been doing my training for over 7 years, been a 501c3 for over a year and a half. What started is when I started training agencies, not just like officers individually, but when I started training agencies, I'm like, how do I keep continuing to provide this training for free? Because I know there's a budget, but it's never in the budget. That's why I got with a board of directors and we formed and became a 501c3 nonprofit where we provide the free autism training. And we also give the first responders autism sensory kits. So when they are responding to a call or an emergency situation, they have that extra tool needed to help aid them. And it's just different sensory items provided by our sponsors and a nonverbal communication card.
We need your help, guys. Number one, we need your help. We need some more support for the first annual American Warriors for Autism event. How can people help?
If you'd like to sponsor, you can reach out to me directly. My phone number is 423-693-6586. Our website is autismresponsetraining.org. As I said, half the proceeds I will be donating to the Princeton House Charter School. They provide free education for children with autism and free therapies. They're excellent. They've done wonders with my son. Best school ever for them. So, and since I do partner with autism communities every year that I have this, I will pick an autism 501c3 to partner with besides mine and give half my proceeds to that. So if you'd like to sponsor, we'd love to have you. As I said, your sponsorship will help provide free autism training and autism sensory kits to law enforcement and first responders for free, and it also helps provide free autism therapy and education. So it's a great cause. And autismresponsetraining.org, 423-693-6586. It's going to be at Tiger Minor Park, April 14th. We have a runsignup.com page that you can donate from too. It's underneath runsignup.com/race/Florida/Ocoee. First annual American Warriors for Autism. You can donate from that link. All sponsors get your name on both my website and the Princeton House website. You also get, depending on what level of sponsorships, and if you'd like to meet with me in person and find out more, reach out to me. I'll be happy to come to your office or corporation and give you more details in person. We're going to have the city of Ocoee there. The Ocoee Police Department and the Ocoee Fire Department will be there, and hopefully Apopka might send a couple fire trucks out. We're going to have relay races for the firefighters. It's an old-fashioned relay race where the kids will be partnered with the firefighters and help them get dressed in their bunker gear. It just helps bridge that gap as far as they get used to seeing what the firefighters look like in bunker gear, and as my son calls them, not a friendly Darth Vader.
It's not just kids or autistic children that like taking the tours of these fire trucks. I do too. I think it's cool. It's not something I get to do every day. I think it's cool. Yeah. What do you guys think? I'm right, Mick?
I don't know. I think being an attorney's pretty
Oh, yeah? No, I'll trade you any day. So what are we going to do that day, by the way? Tell me about this day. Tell me about April 14th.
Well, the Orlando City Soccer Club is sending out their kick and cruiser van and their soccer fun games for the kids. We'll have Justin Clark out here emceeing for the silent auction. Kona Ice will be out there selling ices and donating 20% of their proceeds.
Nice.
Also, they donated a gift basket. Tibby's did, and Bonefish Grill donated gift baskets. Of course, like I said, we're going to have we have a 70-foot obstacle course and a 64-foot obstacle course for the Ocoee Police Department to be partnered with the children that have autism. We have the relay races, and Chief Miller came up with a great idea at the end of the relay race. The kids or the adults running the race can shoot a ball off of a cone using a fire hose. So that, there'll be a firefighter helping with that.
Hey, can I do that?
Yes.
I
Yes,
like
you
that
can.
stuff.
It's mainly just to help bridge that communication gap and bridge that gap between law enforcement and first responders and individuals with autism. But it's going to be a fun event. We're going to be doing it annually, and like I said, if you're interested in sponsoring, please reach out.
And we'll go ahead and post this on our website as well. Marketing Jake, if you're listening, let's go ahead and post a link to this on youhavepower.com. And so by all means, go to our website and you can click right through and figure out how to help out. I think it's
you can donate right from the runsignup.com link. If you can't participate, you can always donate. Sponsorships, there's different levels of sponsorships. We have a bronze, a silver. Sorry about this, Justin. Go. We have like a bronze, gold, silver, benefactor, and diamond. But like I said, all of it goes to the proceeds. You get your name and logo on our T-shirt, on the websites. You got vendor space available. So it's going to be a really fun event.
So
Justin's
You've
providing
got
the water.
this all organized. This is great organization.
So the Princeton House Charter School. Tell me a little bit more about them. Is this a public school?
It's a charter school for children with autism. It's free. They are a 501c3. They've done wonders for my son. As I said, my son was, I was told he'd never be able to communicate, never be potty trained. Lock him up at an institution before the age of 5. Put him in the Princeton House. Before the first year being there, he was almost potty trained. By the second year, he was potty trained. The first year, he could communicate. I got home, and he took those refrigerator magnets and had spelled fish and cat. Wow. And being told your son would never do that.
Wow.
And then the first time he ever said, I love you. Being told your son may never say, I love you. Hearing that? Wow. Yeah. So they've done wonders with my child. They're excellent over there. They provide the free therapy and the free education, and I'm blessed to have them.
How do they find special teachers to hire at this school? I mean, how do they find these teachers?
I can, next show I can bring Beverly in.
Yeah, please do.
Beverly, if you're listening, you might be coming in. She's the director for the Princeton House Charter School. Yeah, they're very great with my children.
I mean, these must be very special people who want to sign up and go through these emotions every day with these students, right? I mean, these must be very special people over there.
Oh, yeah, because the kids do, they don't understand, and that's one thing I teach law enforcement, they don't understand their aggressive behavior and the consequences behind becoming aggressive. And sometimes the teachers are going to get hit, kicked, and bit. The kids don't understand that. Same thing with law enforcement, first responders. And I always teach them, just don't take those actions in and of themselves as a reason for increased force. They may be acting out because they're scared and confused, and they just want to fight back to go to their safe spot. And,
Jason Watson,
personally.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Jason Watson, as a firefighter, what types of training, can you get? Because this is somewhat uncharted territory. This is tough. You're dealing with the inability to communicate or communicate differently than what you've grown up with your entire life. What kind of training can you get as a firefighter, as a first responder, to be able to adequately respond to these issues?
Absolutely. There are programs like Stephanie's out there now.
There's very few and far between. I think
it is
mine and the
few and far
Autism Society
between.
of Greater Orlando have two,
It is. And with the diagnosis of autism on the rise, it's becoming a lot more popular, and hopefully they can get the word out through fundraisers like this one or through just being out in the community and talking and letting people know that this is an issue.
And if you know someone in the autism community, go to their house. Just show up and play video games with the kid. There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. So our biggest thing with training is to have people that are affected by autism come in and speak with us on a personal level. Being able to interact with the kids and adults that have autism is huge, because you could talk about it all you want, but until you actually are interactive with these people, you have no idea.
No.
Right.
And I always, myself, I can speak for myself, I never thought it was that serious. I just, it's always been in the back of my mind, and you just go and you treat every patient the same.
Nope.
But you can't. That's the problem.
And every
So
first
training is
responder would come into
huge.
contact with someone on the autism spectrum at least once in their career.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you a question then. Just as a regular human, I'm not a first responder, and I run across.
You're not regular either. No, you're.
I'm special. Thanks. That means I'm special.
That's
Yes.
right. That's right.
Just as a regular citizen, okay? And I run across a 16-year-old young man who's clearly autistic. How do I respond? What do I say? Do I stay away? Do I say hi? How should we respond?
No, absolutely not. You have to find their comfort. You
Same.
have to, yeah. A kid with autism, or even 16-year-olds, they have something that they do
You can look to
that,
see what
that
they're wearing.
comforts them.
Yeah, look to see what
Absolutely.
they're wearing.
It could be a toy. It could be a blanket. It could be
Get
something.
your cell phone out.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
love cell phones.
And they know how to use them.
Yeah.
They know how to use them.
Oh, yeah.
So, interacting is actually, it's a challenge, but it's a fun challenge.
And you just
can
have
make
to stay
it fun.
patient.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing with kids with autism, they're very task oriented, and they do one thing at a time, and that is it. And
And if you break that task, you're going to cause a meltdown.
absolutely. So, in communicating with them, you have to be very direct. And if you don't get the point across the first time, try it again.
Redirect, rephrase, and repeat as needed.
Absolutely.
And if they take everything very literally. So you have to be careful in what you say. They don't understand sarcasm. You tell them curiosity killed the cat, they're going to think a cat's dead. They don't understand that type of language. So sarcasm, no. Everything is black and white. Everything is very literal to them. That's why we have to watch what our kids listen to and what they watch on TV, because they do take that to the extent. And so when you're dealing with them, sometimes you're going to have to repeat, rephrase, and redirect. And if they go off track with them and go back to, where do you live? What's your name? If you think they're lost, Justin, and you don't know if they're lost or confused, what's your name? Call out a first responder. I give the first responders my card, and yes, it's my cell phone. If you are a first responder and you're out on a call and you're not sure what to do, you can call me. I don't care. I've had my phone ring at 2 o'clock in the morning.
How do we improve? And when I say that is, someone gets sick, they take medication, they get better, right? A child with autism is obviously not going to take a pill and all of a sudden be cured. But surely we can improve their lifestyle and they can get better over time, right?
It depends on the circumstance and the level of functionality. Like I said, it affects each and every person differently to different extents on how they fall. So you can have one person on the severe level of the spectrum, like my son, become verbal. But then you have another child on the spectrum that would never be verbal. That'd be 32 years old, still in pull-ups.
I want you to help me support the first annual American Warriors for Autism, Saturday, April 14th, 2018. You can go to our website, youhavepower.com. We'll have a link
Flyer will be right there with the link.
directly to the website to tell you how you can help us out. Saturday, April 14th. We're going to talk a little bit more about this spectrum, okay, when we come back on the other side of this break. My name is Justin Clark. This is Bud 94.1. Okay, great. Welcome back to Behind the Law with me, attorney Justin Clark. 321-282-1055. Thank you for spending just a small portion of your weekend here with me. YouHavePower.com for any legal question. 321-282-1055. We're talking about more important stuff this weekend. More important than legal crap, Mick. Who wants to talk about that every week? Yeah.
Oh, I don't mind, but still.
Or as Pilar told me after the show last week, you got to stop talking about this depressing stuff. So we're talking about something that's very important. The first annual American Warriors for Autism, Saturday, April 14th, 2018. I will be there. You can go directly to my website, youhavepower.com. Click the link, and you'll be told exactly how you can help. And we'd love to see you out there as well.
You know, Justin, we've already learned so much in the show.
No
just,
doubt.
In these few minutes. It's amazing.
Absolutely, fully agree. And we're talking with Stephanie Cooper, and we're talking with Jason Watson from Apopka, the fire department out in Apopka. And I really appreciate them letting you be here, Jason, because I think it's important to hear from the first responder point of view as well, what it's like when you go on a call and you think it's a regular old fender bender, and then you find out that one of your patients suffers from autism, right?
Absolutely. We take nothing for granted.
And it's just so important to be able to communicate with them and really figure out what's wrong. One of the most important and really something I didn't know, and I don't think Mick Dolan knew either, was the pain tolerance for these people afflicted with autism. Tell me about this again. I had no idea.
Like with my son, he'll turn the hot water on and he'll drink straight from the hot water faucet and his mouth will be scalded and it does not bother him. His pain tolerance is extremely high. And being a former law enforcement officer, I didn't know what autism was till I had my son. I had no idea. And it made me second guess everything I did when I was a law enforcement officer. It's like, did that person not respond to my verbal commands because they couldn't, or they were being non-compliant? And that's one reason why I started my nonprofit and did my training, is I never want the officer to have to second guess what they do, because being a first responder, when we respond, we have that split-second decision to make. And I don't want anybody ever to question that split-second decision. And sometimes when these individuals have autism, when they're scared, confused, and afraid, they fight back. And they have such a high pain tolerance. And I don't want officers or first responders to take these actions in and of themselves as a reason for increased force. Just step back, allow them de-escalate. I provide the autism sensory kits for free. They can give them those different sensory items to maybe calm them down, throw them a blanket, help them self-soothe.
What is that? Whoa. What is an autism sensory kit?
I provide those for free. It's just an autism sensory kit, small enough that fits underneath the unit, because I know when I had my squad car, there's never enough room in our unit, so I make them small enough they fit right underneath the seat. But it's just different sensory items. Like the Tango company sends us free Tangles. The Chewy Tube company sends me free Chewies. Everything else, is provided through our sponsor donations. Like I provide brushes, fidget cubes.
Yes, anything that can get their mind away from the traumatic incident that's going on.
And that's why it's
And
vital.
it doesn't have to be traumatic either. It could just be
And I
anything. It
told
could be
Jason
anything.
if
It
his
could be a
department
bird
wants some, I'll
outside.
give him some. I'll drop some off to the Apopka.
Absolutely. We'd love to have them.
As a firefighter, how long does it take you to go from that wardrobe to like the whole shebang?
Well, we have 1 minute.
You have 1 minute?
We have 1 minute to get fully bunked out. That's when in full gear.
Bunker gear.
To be in the truck and responding. Like I said, we have 1 minute. And when we're in the truck, we have our safety belts on and we put our air pack on, go into the call, and we're ready to go.
Sometimes we wonder, especially during rush hour, there could be a very minor accident, and we'll see, 2 police cars, an ambulance, and the big fire truck. I know there's a reason for that, but what is it?
Well, the big fire truck is annoying to citizens and to drivers, but that's for our protection. If you've noticed when you pull up to an accident, you're having to go around something. That's so that you're not going into us. If you're going around the truck, you're not going through us. So that's very important. And it is. We understand that there's traffic, it's rush hour, but
Move over.
If
you see a firefighter or a fire truck or cop, move over.
I've never been annoyed by that at all.
No,
I've
never been annoyed.
I completely
That's
understand
respect.
it. I just know that's a
You
question
guys are
people have
good
had.
people.
Yeah.
Well, I was a law enforcement officer. I know. Move over. It's respect.
Absolutely.
I mean, you do
and
always.
It's the law now.
Yeah.
So just do it.
Yeah.
What do you think about?
I was in Katrina. I move over.
Jason, what do you think about new laws forbidding people from texting and driving?
I think it's a great idea.
Do you think, you probably can't put a percentage on it, but do you suspect that many of the accidents that you go and work are a result of people texting and driving?
Absolutely. There's a funny story. And texting wasn't really that popular when this happened, but a lady got into an accident and she had her 3 kids in the car. And I think it was her 7-year-old that said, "Oh, you were texting." She went, "Oh my gosh." And we laughed about it, but if she was going faster, it would have been serious. And the kids could have been hurt. The other people could have been hurt. But
I mean, I think at times it's more dangerous to go have to be texting and driving than go have a few cocktails and drive. I really do. I mean, you're looking
I
down.
think it's about equal.
Maybe, I'm not saying drink and drive. Please, do not
it is
misunderstand.
equal.
Okay. But I do think that it is
dangerous.
very dangerous. And then you go and you're like, hey, I wasn't texting and driving. I was emailing and driving. I'm like, dude, you understand what I mean. I don't mean just texting. I mean Facebooking, emailing, anything and driving.
Typing an address on the phone. You don't know how many accidents people get into. Well, I was putting an address in my phone or I was looking at the GPS.
When you take your eyes off the road just for 2 seconds, it's equivalent of going, one football length field,
It
or
depends
2
on
football,
what
2
speed you're
football,
going.
with the speed, but that distance without looking at the road, which means you're endangering my son, my child's life, my kids' lives by doing this.
Yeah,
it's not
it's
worth
ridiculous.
picking this up. Wait, my car has Siri, so if if it's important, it's through Bluetooth. If I see a phone call, I can hit ignore. No.
What happens, Stephanie, at your house when your daughter leaves homework around?
Oh, gosh. Okay, this is back on the autism thing. Just because they're nonverbal does not mean, and they cannot communicate, does not mean they don't understand everything you are saying. They are very super smart. They're not, most people, they're dumb. No, they're not dumb and stupid. They're super smart. My daughter was in 8th grade honors algebra, which is actually a high school course. And she was having problems with one problem. So she went to go call a tutor. She set her homework down on the kitchen table. She came back and it was done. I am horrible at math. Wow. So it was not by me. Daddy's in Afghanistan. Her baby brother did, and he did it correctly. He's very smart. He has an 8th grade math. He does not like doing his work at school because I think he knows it. He just can't communicate to his teacher he knows it. So I've had to explain to him, look, the only way your teacher's going to know that you know it is to do it. But I've sit there, and I actually have a video on Facebook. There was like 4 numbers, 101 plus 126, 127, and 99. He looked at the problem, rolled his head back and answered it correctly. Just that. And I'm like,
I still don't know how letters end up becoming numbers when you add them together, unless it's for the Super Bowl. I really don't. You know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong. I sat in the back in algebra class, but that's a great point. You think that your son doesn't know what's going on.
He knows everything that's going on.
But he knows everything that's going on and way smarter than us deep down.
So he's trapped inside. His mind is
He
trapped.
just has trouble communicating it back to us. And that's when his meltdowns, he has trouble communicating it back. He has trouble getting it out there. And, that's one reason how this come about. I'm a former law enforcement officer, so they learn from a professional. I have the knowledge of their field. I know what it's like to make that split-second decision. But I also have a child on the autism spectrum. So I understand both sides of that fence, and that's why that's what started it.
I think Jason made a great point earlier. Jason is a firefighter, and there are times where he will have to go out and deal with a patient who's autistic for that half an hour window. As a parent, of an autistic child, living with it 24 hours a day? It's your child. You love them, of course.
Yes.
But what are some of the challenges of this being a 24-hour job for you?
When he doesn't sleep, I don't sleep because he has no sense of danger awareness, or he can wander off. So if he's awake, I'm awake. If he has a meltdown or he's starting to have a sensory overload, I can't leave him. And I've had his meltdowns go for 4.5 hours. And if next break, I'll get the phone out and I'll show you. Meltdowns are not pretty to watch. They're heartbreaking. And I'm 47, my son's 9. So when he gets to be 19, I'm 57. That's when I'll be calling the fire department. He's having a meltdown. Can you come assist me? But I also advise the parents and caregivers, bring your child down to the fire station, bring them down, let them play in the back of an ambulance, because if there is a wreck and he responds, you know, an ambulance is a very scary thing, even for us as adults. Mm-hmm. But letting the child play in the ambulance, it becomes not such a scary environment. And same thing with the police. The Ocoee Police Department's excellent. They've actually called me up, hey, Steph, you haven't brought David down in the last month. You got to bring David down for his annual visit. You know, I bring David down monthly. They follow up with me, and I tell the officers, sometimes it's hard for us to get out of the house. Planning to take David out, it's like, takes more planning than a wedding. It's like, did we get the right sippy cup? Did we get the right chewy tube? Does he have his right shirt on? Is he in a good mood? And sometimes I can't make it. So it's like, send officers out. Let the officers come hang out at the house and play. Same thing with the firefighters. Have them come hang out at the house. If you know there's someone in the autism community where they live, say, can I stop by and just hang out with your child? We'd love that. It's a fun thing to do. And just helps bridge that gap.
And back to the training aspect of it, the more awareness that we get in the community, the better. It comes down to, in our situation, being that we don't get the call from the parent, we don't actually know what's going on. If our dispatch can get as much information about the child or the patient before we get to them, the better.
Well, the Ocoee Fire, I don't know, but I can help set it up for your department. The Ocoee Fire Department, the Ocoee Police Department, I help set up their database. So my house is flagged. So if anything happens at my house,
absolutely,
it flags. David's picture comes up, what triggers him, what helps calm him down, that this house is an individual with autism that lives there. He doesn't like the loud sirens. Turn the sirens off.
That's what I was going to say.
And that's what I have the parents. So if you live in Ocoee and you have a child with autism, call the Ocoee Police Department. They have it set up in their database. I help set it up. All you have to do is call and say, I want my house flagged. List the triggers. List what helps calm your son down. That way, if there is a fire or something, the responding paramedics. And in your CAD system, it's very easy to do. If your chief wants to give me a call, I'll be more than happy to.
That ability.
Yes, and that's all you do is reach out to your department.
The first annual American Warriors for Autism event will be taking place Saturday, April 14th, 2018. We could really use your support. Go to my website, youhavepower.com. That's youhavepower.com. We will have a link right there. Click on it. We could use your financial support. If you're a business, get involved. Help us out. We need it. Mick Dillon, I think that's why we do radio today, buddy. What do you think?
This is it, man. This is what the radio's all about.
To Jason Watson and the Apopka Fire Department, I'm really glad you guys let him come out. Stephanie Cooper, keep up the good work.
Yes,
my goodness.
absolutely.
My name is Justin Clark. And Mick, I don't know a whole lot, but I do know one little thing.
What's that?
I will see you right back here next Saturday on Bud 94.1.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Yeah.